Things that happens after the Mexican-American War is the land disputes that rock this area really to the core, because beforehand, the land was a little bit, casually given out. It was often given out by the government, okay? So you could buy and you could sell it, but it was a lot harder, okay? So it would arrive in something like this diseño, okay? Very casual, it'd be like, okay, well, your land is from this stream to, these mountains, to this rock, and everything was very informal. When the United States takes control of the area, you can see the difference in land, surveying, that one is very casual, the other one is very, very closely, very precise and very, very well done. So that sparks a series of land disagreements where people under the old system that had received their land grants, who were promised that they would be able to use those land grants, that they'd be honored, had to then essentially go to court to sue for their own land and to make sure that the federal government recognized their land grant. Oftentimes, it ended poorly because people weren't able to really specify their grant. Sometimes people were able to get their land. So throughout the 1850s, there's an incredible amount of upheaval within the social world because people who had been living on these lands for so long suddenly felt, okay, well, all of a sudden, I'm not even sure if I have my own land anymore. So they're not feeling all that good about themselves. The entire economy that had been based on cattle and on cows, right? That begins to also, and check this out too. Because it had been based on cows, and so, cattle, their hides and their tallow really had been used as currency. But what happens in the 1860s, you have an awful lot of natural disasters that befall the area. So you have an incredible amount of flooding, and then the flooding is followed by drought. So everything kind of dries out. And then immediately after all the drought and everything, you have a large amount of grasshoppers that begin to eat all of the other types of agricultural crops that were here. And so the people that had already been weakened and destabilized from, losing their land and having to defend it in court are essentially finished off by the natural environment. So a lot of the people that begin to flourish in Los Angeles are no longer people that are invested in agriculture, at least during this period, but in, general stores and things like that. One of those individuals is right over here.
Oh, they have bigger.
Yeah, they do. No, they're not.
Okay, yeah.
No, they have been. One of those farms, the attack of the locusts. You work on Thursday sometimes?
I'm used to, don't worry.
No, it's hard.
No, it's all right.
So in the midst of all of this, upheaval, what else is discovered in Northern California? Well, gold, So we have a lot of miners coming in here. We have a lot of people that have been kicked out of other settlements, people that are arriving from all over the world. And so this number of about 16,000 is augmented by all sorts of drifters, and you have a lot of lawlessness happening as well. So the 1850s in Los Angeles is a time of incredible flux, In that case, we have, some guns and iron knuckles and whiskey glasses and things, and that really represents the lawlessness. But you also have this new breed of person that is coming in here that is not focused on, raising cattle or being a ranchero, but on actually opening up general stores and practicing commerce in that way. So this gentleman's name is Charles Ducommun. He's a Swiss immigrant. He actually ends up in Arkansas first, then he buys this shotgun to protect himself and to provide for his food. He walks from Arkansas to Los Angeles with the aid of a mule.
Wow.
He opens up this watch, a repair shop. He does well with that. He parlays that into a general goods hardware store. Does well with that. Begins to buy land in the area. Invests in the railroad when that comes through. Eventually invests in oil. His descendants invest in aerospace and defense. And Ducommun Incorporated is the oldest continuously operating company in California. And it starts... Still current, yeah. They're defense contracting, I believe. And this shotgun is really where it starts, you know, with some guy just protecting himself and being able to provide himself for his food, and he walks all the way over.